Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rebel Intel channel. In this video, I continue with my interviews with former homeless and addicts. You're going to be introduced to Brandie to the left and her husband Shelby Tucker to the right. And I'm introducing this because the first part of this story where she's telling sort of like the history or backstory of one of the buildings of the facility that they work at, that audio got cut off a little bit, but let's meet Brandie and Shelby Tucker. Check it out.
But it's been donated to the town since like 1957 is when it got donated to the town, because Arthur Holliday donated it to the town just for, it started out to be like domestic violence, women's shelter, and then Burl, tell me if I'm on the right track with this, if you know any more information. And then it turned into, they used to detox people there and for people to get sober, because, and then our guy's house, Miller Manor, Ina Miller, she was a prostitute and I guess the mafia and mob was real heavy here in Lawton back in the 40s and 50s. And so she ran with them, but she got sober and she owned that house and she donated it to the town so people could get sober and have somewhere to stay. And they detox people in the garage in that little house next door. And then they would move to the big house and that's where they would live, you know, and kind of get on their feet and stuff. Well, somebody had the idea to start a treatment center to support the sober house so they wouldn't have to get jobs, and they got the state involved and that kind of backfired.
So, Shelby, tell us how you guys first met.
Oh, so we were at, we both lived in sober living, and we had both ended up at an AA clubhouse together, and that
You're
is
a horrible storyteller.
well, that is we met for the first time at Friday Night Affair, right?
Yeah, we were in Oklahoma City.
In Oklahoma City, yeah.
I just got out of prison.
She had just got out of prison. I had just showed back up at the sober house, and we met at a AA meeting called Friday Night Affair. We exchanged numbers, right? No,
we stalked each other.
so well, yeah, that's right. That's
So,
right.
were you trying to mac on her?
Yes, I was, and so there's this, and she still has it, but there's a Facebook photo of her, and it's just her face, and she's got a hoodie on, and is all you can, like, you can see her whole face, but her eyes, and she's got her glasses on now, but she's got beautiful eyes, and so I call it mesmerized. I got mesmerized by her eyes, and I stalked her for a good couple weeks, huh?
Yeah, you know the Facebook game, like you like everything they post, like. It's like, ooh.
And I knew she started liking me because she started liking all of my stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't even good stuff.
No, it, and it was
You
just,
like my stuff was great.
yeah, conspiracy theory stuff. That's all I post, but so
Well,
then,
some of those conspiracy theories aren't theories.
right.
Right.
So, Brandie, what had you been doing up to that point? How did you get to that point?
Get to Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
I was forced there, actually. I'm from Stillwater, and so I did not do what I was supposed to do in Stillwater. Long story short, they put me in drug court after I was putting gas in an imaginary car. Long story.
You were trying to put gas in an imaginary
No,
car.
I did it.
Yeah, she
I did it.
succeeded.
So you had
Put the gas
like a
in the
real
imaginary
gas,
car.
there's an
Yep.
imaginary car there, and it was
There was
just
gas going out, yeah.
And you were
I was
you
doing
were
it.
you were out of your mind at that time.
Yes. Bad planning.
Um,
God intervened.
and ended up in
And-
this location where you run into Shelby here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we wanted to be sober,
Right.
because everybody wanted us to be sober, but we
Right.
didn't want to,
Right.
you know? So we were pretending until we could not be sober again.
Right.
Like, I had an ankle monitor on, there was no way I could not be sober. There were some ways.
Well, so she had an ankle monitor on, and I had a court appearance coming up, and I had not fulfilled any of my court duties that I was supposed to do. I thought about A, running, but I didn't have a vehicle. B, just not showing up. but I just got that new apartment. And so I was thinking like, well, I'm 30 days sober, life's going pretty good. I got a new girlfriend, and so I went to court, and while I'm sitting in court, in the courtroom, there's one door that comes in and one door that goes out. And I seen two guys in all black walk in, and I was the last person in there, and I knew that they was there for me. And it was bondsmen.
Mm.
And
Those damn bondsmen.
yeah, my sponsor Steve at the time, he wasn't really my sponsor because I wasn't doing anything he said, but I claimed him as my sponsor. He had came off my bond on Friday. He had informed me that he was coming off my bond on Friday.
You didn't believe him?
I did not believe him. On Monday, I showed up to court, and in fact, he did come off my bond. They arrested me, and for, what was it, 8 months?
Yeah, it was like
4
months.
4 months,
Yeah,
4
it was
5 months.
springtime, whenever
Yeah, and
you saw the light of day.
I went to jail for 4 or 5 months in Oklahoma County. She got her ankle monitor off.
Oh man, I had a car.
Yeah,
My mom had bought me the week before, and I lost the car.
yeah.
Like, I still have no idea. I went and got my ankle monitor off at my PO and went straight to the dope house. Like, there was no pass and go, no nothing. That's after being sober for 9 months. And went straight there.
So that's how powerful it is.
Mhm.
Yes.
And what were you hooked on at that time?
That was meth and Xanax.
What does I've never understood this. What does Xanax do
Oh,
for somebody that's
it
on
makes
meth?
you forget everything.
Really? So
You
it's
forget
just
all the hurt, all the pain.
oh.
You don't feel anything. And you have no idea where you're at. And you steal things and you don't remember it. But,
And they have a nickname for it on the street. Do they call it just bars or something
yeah,
like that?
bars and footballs.
And footballs because of the shape of
The
the
shape, yeah.
Okay.
And that's how I overdosed on fentanyl, actually. Because I thought I was taking 4 footballs, but I took 4 Roxy 30s that were laced with fentanyl.
Oh God.
And that's how I died.
Oh.
Yes.
And then when the paramedics came,
Yes, and so whenever
Well, that was
Yeah,
about a year later.
Yeah, that was but the way that happened was she came into the room while we were staying at one of my cousin's house, and she had came into the room and she said we had an air mattress on the floor, and she said that she was going to lay down, and I could tell that something wasn't right with her face. Like, her eyes were not wobbly yet, but they were kind of distant, and she said, I'm laying down, I'm going to take a nap. And I said, no, you're not. And so about that time, she started saying, I don't feel right. And so
I knew it wasn't Xanax.
Right.
I knew it was
And
opiates because that's what.
right, I got her up and I took her to the bathroom, and I had we tried my finger, that didn't work. Then we
Stick it down my
tried,
throat.
we tried a toothbrush, sticking that down her throat, trying to get her to throw up. And finally we drug her out to the car.
My body felt so heavy.
It was
It
heavy.
was so heavy. Like, I couldn't. It took everything in me to just move my finger, you know.
Hmm.
And I was trying to breathe, and my head kept falling back, and he kept slapping me,
Yeah.
trying to get me to stay awake.
I was gonna rush her to the hospital, which I thought was right down the road, which it wasn't. I ended up calling I called 911 at the stoplight. They met us at the corner, and then whenever the paramedics showed up and the cops showed up,
I remember pulling me out of the car,
mhm,
and then you were trying to help, and they wouldn't let you help.
yeah, they told me to just get out of the way, which I did, and I let them do their job, and they were really amazing firemen. The firemen were amazing. They were very professional, did what they were supposed to do, and then
The paramedics, the MT or whatever, I remember I was in the ambulance, and I was like, God, please just don't let me die. I couldn't move my hands or nothing. I could see and kind of hear. It was like flashes, like whenever, you know, like kind of like flashes, like, oh, this is a scene and this is a scene or whatever is what I remember. And she lifted up my arm and she looked at all the track marks and she was like, it's just another junkie. That's when I knew. I was like, she's gonna let me die. And that was when Narcan had to be through that IV.
Yeah.
And they
You
ended up spraying.
thought she was just going to let you die?
I thought that for sure. I really thought that. And I was laying in the ambulance, and I could see him standing at the back of the ambulance with the police officer, and I was watching him watch me die.
Yeah.
And that made me feel something. And I hadn't felt something like that intense in years inside of me, you know, because I was just numb to everything. And I felt his love for me, and that he cared about me. And I was like, holy cow, people, you know, somebody does care. And then next thing I know, I'm waking up and the nurse is throwing clothes at me and telling me to get dressed.
Wow. So now, walk us through, like, what are you guys doing now to help everybody? What's your mission in this scheme right now?
So my mission, my mission today is very faith-based and is very around God and Jesus and the Bible and all that. My mission starts with the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And for me, and for a lot of people, and there's a lot of them at our facility, and a lot that we talk to throughout a daily basis, that they have either a small knowledge of Jesus, but Jesus is not their main focus. Their main focus is how do I get off drugs? Mm-hmm. Well, we can remove the drugs and the alcohol from you, and that's fine, but now you're just going to be miserable because you don't have that escape. So how do we fulfill that big hole that's inside of you? And this book right here is amazing at showing you how to do that, and it's spiritually divine, and there's a divine message in it. There's no other book in the world other than the Bible that can relate from 1934 to present day 2025 and still capture every moment that you have. And so for us, it starts with the Big Book, and we try to lead to a place of faith where there's kindness, there's love, there's compassion, there's gentleness, but mostly just hope. That would be it.
Hope, because in the beginning, and that was for me, I mean, if it had anything to do with God, I was not in.
Right.
You know, count me out, because he is not for me.
Right.
And so you just have to give him hope somehow, right? So you don't have to believe God's going to save you, but just believe that it worked for me.
Right.
And that's the really the hurdle of getting people in. But whenever you show them that this thing did work for you, that's how it worked for me. I didn't want to do any of it, but it was working for him. And so I was like, if it makes him smile, it's got to be something, so let me try it.
With all the guys and girls across the street, and then all the people at the sober house, I always try to tell them, like, look, guys, almost 7 years ago, I was miserable. I hated the world. I hated everybody in it. And today, my passion is to be surrounded by people that are just like me. Something had to change in me to make that happen. Mm-hmm. And it started with this book. And today, though, I have a belief in Jesus and a faith that is stronger than ever. And I believe that, I mean, the path that I took, that I had to get to where I'm at today, I don't think it would have happened had I not had the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous.
So how many people do you have in your facilities that you're helping out?
We have a total of 60 people, right? 60 people, and we're completely full.
Yeah.
So
And that's in 2 different facilities?
3 different.
3
4.
different
Well,
facilities.
4 with the apartments.
yeah, so we have the residential facility where they live there. There's 12 women and 18 guys.
Mhm.
And they're there 24 hours a day for 45 to 60 days. They have group every day. They don't work. They are just there. Their insurance pays for them to be there. And really, that's not long enough.
No.
And so if we have a mission, is to get more help for people in substance abuse and mental health.
Right.
Because that's the cause of the homelessness, of the crime. That is the big cause.
Yeah.
And, but, so we have 60 people, or 30 people there. And then we work there all day. And then we have the sober living houses where they go to work every day. They have to pay their rent. They start to learn how to live life with guidance, you know?
Yeah.
You can't just put 12 drug addicts in a house and tell them to pay their bills and get a job. Like, you have to show them how to do that.
Yeah.
Because they've been out of society for so long, we don't know. I didn't know.
Some people you have to literally teach them how to do laundry. You have
Yeah.
to show them how to. I've showed grown men across the street how to take showers, and I mean, there's a lot of people that don't have basic human skills, and so that's what sober living I think is about.
Yeah,
is,
how to cut your toenails.
Yeah, guiding
Yeah.
people through life.
And there's places where they give them the hygiene kits, but some of them don't even really know
Right.
how to use the hygiene
Right.
kits,
They
right?
don't know what it is. They don't put sheets on their bed. They
Yeah.
don't put, they don't take off their shoes to go to sleep.
Right.
And where did you guys get the training to be the train?
Experience.
Life experience.
Life experience.
We lived in sober living, and we managed sober living. When we were almost about a year and a half sober, we lived in a sober house. We lived downstairs with our 2 dogs, and we had 13 guys that lived upstairs.
And it was awesome.
It was amazing. It was a big family. We had family dinners several times a week. We all went to meetings out together.
Well, outstanding. And
Yeah.
how are you guys getting? Is it a 501c3? Is it government
Yes.
funded? Okay.
Yes, we're a state funded facility,
Okay.
and the sober houses, it's all under the same company
Okay.
that does it all. So
You don't own it. You work for a company, or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, outstanding. Well, they've vetted you though, so they've decided you guys are the A team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of people say, sort of like, who do you want to get this type of information or advice or assistance from? Somebody who hasn't been there or lived it,
Right.
or somebody who has been there and lived it?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So do a lot of your folks out there identify with you and connect more with you because of that?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%, yes.
So you have almost automatically have a really high level of solid rapport with these people.
I mean,
It takes a
they're not easily trusting.
right.
Right,
They,
Okay.
they
But-
have come and because we are so far removed, which is crazy to think, but 6.5 years is not that long to be sober in reality. But because they don't see us on the streets, they don't see we're clean, we got clean clothes on, and we shave and do all that stuff. I've noticed it started to take the clients across the street, it's starting to take them about a week or so to realize that I was really a drug addict. And they have to hear me talk about it. And they usually hear me talking about it. I'll talk about it to one client over here, and 3 of them will overhear it over here, and they'll be like, tell me more about that story. And so that once they hear the stories, then they start connecting, and then it's like, once we're connected, then they're willing to let me do whatever for them.
Like you guys mentioned previously, and Jonathan mentioned this as well, while you're in that realm, you don't trust anybody and you don't even trust yourself. So although they identify that you guys have been there, so they might identify with you more, you still have to build up the trust and the rapport.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And they just enough for them to let us help them. Even.
Right.
You know, like we're not trying to get anything from them or to know any of their secrets. We just please let me bring you some shoes.
Right.
That's the way Jonathan said he was. He's like, why should I trust you? I know you don't care really. Why do you
Right.
care?
Right.
So,
These people are the very bottom. Society has given up on all of them
Right.
because they are all state funded, no insurance, homeless. And we're not going to give up on you. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right.
what Catalyst is known for. Like we don't give up on people.
Right.
so I'm sure there's a lot of stories of relapse.
Oh yes.
Let's not talk about too much of the relapse because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's actually a pretty high level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But tell me, Shelby, tell me one story of a success story that you can think of.
Oh, we have a guy that is currently living in Chickasha. He's coming up on 9 months. He's come to our church multiple times. He had I can't remember. It wasn't kidney cancer, but excuse me, while he was in our facility, he had a big knot on his back. He thought it had something to do with the sciatica nerve. Is what we took him to a chiropractor twice actually, and it helped for a couple days, but then He left our facility, got out of our facility. He works in the oil field, so he went to work. He started doing really good. And then one morning he couldn't walk. He got out of bed and started stumbling everywhere. His vision got blurry and bounced his head off of the dresser a couple times. He had called me and he didn't really make any sense. I wasn't sure if he had relapsed or not, but I by talking to him, and then that later that day his sister had called me and told me that he was in the hospital and that he was just diagnosed with cancer. The next day he called me and told me that he was diagnosed with cancer. He was scared, of course, and he was trying to figure out, how am I going to do this because of all the pain pills they're going to have to give me, because I'm going to have to take chemo and radiation. They jumped on it immediately, and then, was it last month? It was about a month and a half ago now, huh?
Yeah.
About a month and a half ago, he rang the bell. He's cancer free. They did a surgery, pulled it out of him. He did his last chemo. I think that was, they have a, after you complete it, I guess they do a chemo just for extra measure type deal. And he took his last one. That would have been probably 3 weeks ago now. And that's my dude, and him, and then my dude Dennis, that is always, he's usually with me everywhere. He's coming up on a year sober. He completed our Enid program, and I mean, I could tell you a bunch of awesome success stories from guys and females, honestly. We got Charlotte that just started. She came to work for us.
She completed the center, 2 years ago?
Yeah, finally was able to come to work for us. She lost her job at Brahms, was stressed out, freaking out.
She lost her job because she was a felon.
Right.
She worked there for 8 months.
Became manager.
They did the paperwork because she was going to become a manager, and then they had to let her go because she was a felon.
Yeah.
And she didn't put it on her original paperwork.
Right.
Like, none of us put it on our paperwork because you're not going to talk to us.
Right. And
You know, like, I'd rather explain in person. Like, let you
Right.
get to know me, now I'll tell you
Right.
about my background, because you're going to judge me right out the gate.
So it's almost like a trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Shelby, you told me some success stories kind of from the perspective of your work at the centers.
Mhm.
Now, Brandie, you weren't as much of a believer. Do you know of any people that you can tell us, not their names, but do you know of any people? It was a success story regarding you guys communicating to them anything about Jesus or the Bible or the church?
Yeah. I mean, I know, I don't want to say, it's in my, little wins, right? This girl, I almost said her name. She came to the sober house, and she was very, very, Brenda actually is one that referred her to us, Brenda United Way. And she was not religious or anything like that. She just came to church with us, and I was like, just start reading the Bible, do this, it'll make you feel better just every time that you get their anxiety, that you start, cause, mental health issues, a lot of them and stuff, and self-harm, things like that. And so, when you start feeling that way, you just start praying. You don't have to say anything formal, or nothing like that. You just start talking to your friend. And so 2 weeks ago she got baptized. 2 weeks ago she got baptized.
How's she doing?
She's doing good. She has a full-time job working at the hotel, and she's not in our sober house anymore, but she's doing good. She's doing real good. She's only, 3 months sober. But that's a win. That's a huge win.
Yeah.
For someone that can't get through one night without wanting to cut their arms.
Right.
Now, Brenda has told us one of her theories is, first thing, get them off the street. Don't care how, get them in some kind of shelter where they have, a roof over their head. They're not cold, they're not wet. They have a blanket, they have a place to sleep, they have something in there, some food in their stomach. Is that one of the ways that you guys approach this?
I mean, yeah, if you don't know, so in the sober houses, like our number one goal thing is sobriety. We want you to stay sober. Don't worry about the rent. The rent will happen. You know, like they stress out so much about money and where they're going to live, if they're going to have somewhere to live. Like you have a place to live, because that's really a big worry, because you've been homeless. You know, and you don't want to. Once you get somewhere, you don't want to lose that again. And then they don't have food, right? So don't steal food from your roommates. Let us know, and whatever you need, just let us know. We want you to be comfortable. We want this to be your home. And so, like, we took out all the bunk beds and put regular beds in there, and you can decorate your room however you want. If you need a lamp, let us know. If you need whatever, just, you know, to make you comfortable. If you feel like you need a rug in your room and you can't afford one, let me know. We have a lot of resources.
Right.
We want you to feel at home, and I think that makes the biggest difference.
I think so too.
And we treat it like a family, too.
Right.
We have family dinners and meetings and, you know, just talk to them like regular people. Not like, you need to do this or that, but like, hey, what's going on?
Right.
How can I help you?
Explain that church scenario for me again, Brandie.
So our residents and clients, they come here because they feel accepted at church, and that makes a big difference in their recovery. They feel like they're loved. They associate the people in the church with God. And so at the bigger churches and maybe the ones in the city that are by where they're probably living out homeless or whatever, they don't feel welcome. And so when they're coming in, they haven't showered in 5 days, and you know, they're dirty and smell and maybe probably really high or withdrawing real bad.
Right.
And those people don't accept them, or they feel like they don't accept them. They might not have, you know, denied them, but they feel like they're not accepted. They associate that with God, so they think God doesn't accept me, and they think that if God doesn't accept me, then what am I? You know, and so that's where their self-worth goes way down.
Right.
And that was my thing too, because my ex-husband's parents, they were real, you know, religious, well, and they went to church and stuff. And so they had told me how worthless I was and told me I was a junkie and all those things. And so to me, that was God, you know. I associated that with all the churches and all the people in church. And I was like, I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm good.
That's kind of disappointing to hear. I see that a lot with a lot of some aspects, not a lot, but some aspects of Christianity, where the community is not doing that Jesus thing. Judge not, lest ye be judged, and blessed are the meek, type of thing. So explain that church community thing from your perspective.
So
viewpoint, Shelby.
A lot of the clients that I deal with daily, and then a lot of the sober house guys that I deal with, I hear a lot that our church has accepted them. They feel at home, just like she said, but they feel like they're a part of something. And for so long, I couldn't trust nobody. Now I have people at the church that are welcoming me. They talk to me. They make me feel important. They make me feel loved. And most of all, they give me hope. Just by, like, when Pastor Scott and Tammy, when we're lining up and leaving, they shake hands and hug everybody. And there's a lot of our clients and a lot of our residents at the sober house that trying to shake their hand is almost impossible. Now they're giving hugs. And I know whenever we first came into the rooms, like, people wanted to hug all the time, and I'm like, hold on now, the hug. But today I'm a hugger because of people. That's the way people show love, and that's the way. I think that was mine. I put it behind me on accident. But it's funny to watch these people start giving hugs, and when they start cringing, you know, and then all of a sudden they relax, and you know, one Sunday they're tense, next Sunday they're loose, and it's it's a big deal.
Everybody remembers their names, you know. Scott,
Yeah.
he goes, I was to remember their names. He must have flashcards.
That's
I don't know how he does
important,
it.
Yeah.
That's something I had a hard time doing with good people. I could remember the names of bad guys all the time, like
Yeah.
all day long. I know all these bad guys, but good people, I'd run into them. Well, I'm not too really concerned about you.
Right.
Brandie, tell me how important it is for the church to be part of the community for your guests.
And so it does, like he said, to be a part of something, like they have a big family. And it's people that I don't know, because like, obviously I can kind of trust, you know, the church. You have to, I don't know if you have to trust the church, but they hadn't trusted them before.
Mhm.
And so in all the recovery and the AA, it talks about, you know, God's will and turn your life and your will over to the care of God. And it's like, I don't think I'm going to do that. But then you start seeing the people at church that are good people and that care about you. And so it's like, well, maybe I could do that, you know, because maybe he does care about me. And so they associate the two together. And then it becomes one
Right.
in their life, in their mind, and in their hearts. And it's really cool. And we didn't have that when we first got sober.
Right.
If we would have had, like we keep saying over and over again, if we would have had people like Brenda and Burl in our lives, and Scott and Tammy, it would have been,
We would have got
What-
sober a long
man,
time ago.
we would have got sober a long time ago. But we just felt like there was no, you know, we prayed all the time. Just if somebody would just give me a little bit of help, just a little bit, I could get on my feet, you know. Just one chance, just give me a job to work.
Right.
And I applied at McDonald's, and I got a letter saying I was not qualified to work there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now look at you.
Right.
I just was not my spot.